Do you have to rent your chair like in a barber shop, or once you're hired, you get one no matter what? So it's a little bit different. Each shop kind of sets those rules. It also depends if it's following an apprenticeship and you're working, at your master's shop, or if you just moved, you're new to the area, you found a reputable shop to go to and you contacted them. Haven't seen chair rent really at any shop that I've looked at. Usually it's a percentage. So most shops do like a 60-40. The tattoo artist takes home 60% plus 100% of their tip. And then the shop keeps 40%, and usually in that type of situation, they provide the cleaning supplies, sometimes the ink, aftercare bandages, things like that. Also seen a 70-30 split where the artist takes home 70% and the shop takes 30%. In that case, usually the tattoo artist supplies everything across the board. And if it's something that is kind of communal, such as like paper towel or soap at the hand washing sinks, things like that, cavicide, barbicide, alcohol, then that is usually split evenly between the body art technicians. So, but the rest of the supplies, that artist provides all of their own stuff in a 70-30 situation. You want to find a shop that's a good fit for you. You want to find a shop that is a reputable shop that has good reviews, that is a clean shop, that follows protocol, that follows all of the health department requirements. You do not want to be in a situation where there's a shop that doesn't follow all of those requirements and then you end up losing your license because of something that happened at that shop. Were there any times that you doubted your career choice as a tattoo artist? I wouldn't say there's any times I've doubted my career choice. There are definite moments though where, let's say you have a week of tattoos that you really aren't excited about. You've done a rose 50 times that week already and you have another person that comes in that wants a rose. That kind of a thing. Or the infinity sign. I don't know how many times I've done an infinity sign. Like that, when you're doing a style or you're doing just something that you don't really enjoy. Or I've also had moments where I don't feel very confident, like maybe I do a tattoo and I have, with any tattoo that I do, at the end of the day, I sit there and I look at the photos. I look at them very close. I look at every little line, zoom in. I could have done this better. I could have done that better. I feel like that's a very good quality to have as a tattoo artist. It also can be a little bit damaging to yourself because then you're like, oh gosh, I have 5 things wrong in this tattoo that I could have done better. It can kind of get you in a little bit of a funk. And I wouldn't say that it's made me doubt my career choice, but it's made me, just kind of not feel confident until I have that piece where I'm like, bam, I killed it, and it was perfect, and it was 100% across the board. So there is that also associated. What does a normal day at work look like for you? What are your day-to-day responsibilities? Is there more paperwork than most people think? So a normal day for me looks like, I come in, I do about an hour of cleaning, get kind of prepped. I'm always ahead on my drawings. When I first started out and it was just, a walk-in career, walk-in based career really, it was a little bit different. You just wait for that phone to call. Or phone to ring and, or somebody to show up, and then you would have that consultation, basically draw it up, tattoo it. So now it's a little bit different. I'm booked out usually about 14 months in advance at a time, and I try to draw like 2 weeks in advance. I draw an order of appointment, and so I'm always trying to be well prepared. So that's kind of what that morning looks like. Also answering the phone, responding to clients, responding to booking, entries, and then setting up my station, getting ready as soon as the client's here. You check them in. Currently with COVID, there's COVID paperwork to start with, checking the temperature, having them fill out a form that they understand that we're following all the procedures that are in place for us to ensure that we're doing everything that we can to avoid having any kind of COVID outbreak, using some hand sanitizer, and then making sure they don't have any of the symptoms associated with COVID within the past 24 hours. Normal tattoo paperwork is, it's a pretty long form from the health department, similar to when you go to the doctor's office. So you want to know their past medical history as far as anything that is blood sugar related, hyperglycemic, hypoglycemic, diabetic. You want to make sure that your client has eaten before they've come and that they're well hydrated. You want to make sure, what else is on the health questionnaire, that they're not pregnant, that they're not breastfeeding, that they are not on any type of blood thinner. That can be, prescription form, or, that they've had alcohol recently as well. You want to make sure they're not prone to keloids, and I mean true keloids. There's a lot of people that come in, especially for piercings, that they'll say, hey, I got a keloid, I got a keloid, I got a keloid. Usually it's not a keloid. Usually it's a piercing bump or hypertrophic scarring. There's a huge difference between that and what a keloid is. If someone is actually prone to keloids, which it is rare, but if they are, then you're going to take a completely different approach to tattooing them, if you tattoo them at all. Okay. Next portion of the paperwork is going to be a statement that they understand that, one, that they filled out the health questionnaire if it applied to them. They, excuse me, have received their tattoo aftercare paperwork, which I always give to them right when I'm explaining the paperwork to them. And that they understand that if they have a problem with me or the shop or anything that happens that day while they're in, it could be from another body art technician, staff member, another client, whatever. Basically, if they had any kind of issue, we have the health department's information framed on the wall, and and we also tell them verbally that they can Google search Grand Traverse County Health Department as well. And the rest of the paperwork is their information, such as like their legal name, their preferred name, preferred pronouns, address, email address, basically all of their information that you would need. Okay. The last 3 sections of that paperwork is going to be a little bit about the tattoo, where they're getting it, and if they've ever had an issue with a medical procedure. They're prone to fainting, seizures, anything like that, because that is going to help your artist place you in the proper position, to potentially ask you some other questions, and to just be prepared and be watching for, if you are someone that's prone to fainting, we're going to be watching you a little bit closer throughout that procedure to make sure that you're good, throughout it. Other day-to-day responsibilities are going to be, cleaning the shop, cleaning the bathroom, the floors, the surfaces, doing things to prevent cross-contamination. Like I said, checking the phone, responding to, emails, all the social media, things like that. And that third question was, is there more paperwork than most people think? I would say yes to that. A lot of people think, you just come in and sit down and get a tattoo. Back in the day, before the health department was involved, yeah, that was a thing. It is a lot different now, and as it should be, because it is a medical procedure. What is your favorite thing about being a tattoo artist? I'd say the human connection that you get with your clients, especially your regulars. Your clients are trusting you to do a medical procedure on them. They're trusting you with their body. This is a permanent procedure, and you are spending a lot of time with them, you know, more times than not, you know, especially with your regulars, and especially when you build a clientele and you are booked out, you know, you're working on that person all day long. A lot of the time you're having lunch with them, yeah, there's some small talk involved, but you know, you become very close with them. A lot of the time, you know, it's like being a therapist and you really get to, you you get them on their best days and their worst days, and having that connection with them and getting to know them and caring about them and producing beautiful work for them, I would say, is probably my favorite thing about tattooing. In particular, I would say that beyond just that connection, so like the connection that I have with the people that I do a memorial tattoo on, or people that have had something happen to them, such as they're a burn victim, they yeah, are a breast cancer survivor, you know, things like that. And, you know, like I said before, you know, my whole life plan was to become a plastic surgeon. So, you know, I was very excited about being able to help burn victims, to help breast cancer survivors, to help people that have, you know, things that have happened to them, you know, that has either misshapen their body or whatever, you know, has changed their body in some way that they're not happy with. I get to do that, just not as in quite of as invasive setting. Okay, so, you know, I got to do, you know, a beautiful chest piece on this breast cancer survivor, and one, I got to know this person very well. We shared a lot of beautiful stories, a lot of emotional stories together, and we became very close throughout that process. And that usually does happen, you know, with a piece like that. And I think my favorite part is when you're finally in that last session and you finish that piece and they stand in front of the mirror and they see this beautiful piece when they were so unhappy before and couldn't look at themselves and had this negative, you know, view of themselves after that, even though they went through this huge battle and they lived, you know, they weren't happy with their body after. So that right there, that reveal is just beautiful, especially because throughout that you got to know that person, you know, you share some tears, you know, it's just a beautiful thing. Another one is, you know, like I said, memorial tattoos. You're part of that grieving process as a tattoo artist. You're there to listen to their story. You're there to talk if they want to talk or not. Usually I'd say more times than not, you know, they share that full story with you, and sometimes you get to hear you know, some pretty intense, sad stories, you know, especially the loss of a child, the loss of a husband or a wife, you know, these very hard to deal with, you know, or unexpected deaths, you know, as well. And that, you know, you get to share some laughs, you get to share some cries with them, you know. So it's kind of an emotional roller coaster for everybody, but that's definitely my favorite part of being a tattoo artist, is that connection and, you know, that bond that you create with that person.